Virgo, I'm here with your video for understanding Sagittarius energy. So, this video is going to primarily be about Sagittarius Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Obviously, there are other planets as well, but I'm not going to discuss those in this particular video. If you're interested in hearing more about those planets and how, Sagittarius plays a role within those placements, please let me know. Okay? So, let's start off with the Sun in Sagittarius. So Sun is a mutable fire sign, so it's a very energetic sign that likes to do a lot of things, but also likes to be very vocal and very have a have a really strong presence. Okay, so Sagittarius is a sign that's really linked to like diversity and other cultures and like foreign influences. This is a person, Sagittarius person is usually someone who's very open-minded to other cultures and other experiences. They are very adventurous. A lot of Sagittarius suns, a lot of Sagittarius in their chart might like to travel a lot. They're open. They want to meet new people. They want to understand other cultures. Another thing is they are of the fire signs. So anyone can be intelligent, obviously, but of the fire signs, they're the most intellectual. Because Sagittarius is linked to, for one, it's ruled by Jupiter, expansion and knowledge and wisdom and things of that nature. So, it's intellectual. There's a lot of, association with Sagittarius and like wisdom and finding your life path and spiritualism. So Sagittarius is a very interesting sign. There's a lot within it. Okay, Sun in Sagittarius also can be a person who's very blunt. They say what's on their mind. If someone's getting on their nerves, they might say it. They might not have the most soothing way of coming across when they're upset or when they have something that they have to say and they're like, I don't have a nice way of saying this, I'm just going to say it. Let's move into the moon in Sagittarius. So my moon is in Sagittarius. Okay, the Sun and the moon are different. The Sun, primarily in Sagittarius, is the person who might be the traveler. These are people, and anybody can travel, obviously, but these are people that you're going to hear like every time they're on like a new trip or they're going somewhere new or they're trying to test out this new restaurant, this new, ethnic cuisine or something like that. The moon is different. While Sagittarius Sun exudes optimism, the Sagittarius moon needs to feel optimistic. So while the Sun exudes and shows this is who I am, the Sun internally has to feel balanced. The moon inside has to feel balanced. Okay? If the Sagittarius moon person is not in balance, they become very pessimistic. Okay? So there's a need there. And while Sagittarius Sun, or people who have Mars and Sagittarius, or anything that revolves them being active, does things. They're impulsive. I want to get up and I'm going to go to a concert by myself or something like that. Moon in Sagittarius is very active in their mind and in their feelings. And Moon in Sagittarius person is going to have the same wants to explore. But Sagittarius moons want to explore in their mind. So they might always be doing hobbies. They might have a lot of things going on at once. They might like to do projects. Now the problem with Sagittarius energy, sometimes Sagittarius energy doesn't finish their projects. So they have all these great ideas. They're influencers. They want to better things. They want a better society. But Sagittarius doesn't always finish everything that they start. The Sagittarius moon, remember, moons deal with feelings. So your Sagittarius moon person could be even more impulsive than a Sagittarius in some cases. Okay, if they want something, they desire something, the moon is your feelings, you might just go for it. And that could be good in some cases and it can be bad in other instances. Okay, moon in Sagittarius changes their feelings way easier than Sagittarius Sun. Like a moon in Sagittarius person could be fine 1 minute and then you say one thing and they can like change their entire mood. Sometimes, moon in Sagittarius can be like, oh, I love this. And then something happens and they're like, oh, I hate this. Like they're kind of, it's not that they don't really change. It's that depending on the situation at hand, they can instantly, remember, mutable fire. Okay. Impulsivity in Sagittarius. Okay. The desire to better things can make someone, have those type of tendencies. Another thing is though, Moon in Sagittarius, because they change so much and they're so fast moving, Moon in Sagittarius can get over things easily though. Some things that might bother other people. Now they can be very blunt as well, just like Sagittarius Sun with their words, especially if they're upset or their feelings are hurt or they feel disrespected or some type of offense to them. They can be pretty blunt, Moon in Sagittarius, but they also get over certain things very easily. Rising. Sagittarius rising person is similar. So I have my notes here if I'm looking down. It's because I could do this video off the top of my head, but I want to make sure I get in as much as possible for you. So the Sagittarius rising person may only show Sagittarius energy at certain moments. You know, having your rise, here's what I'll say. Your rising does not mean you become that sign. It means your reputation and how people view you. Maybe the first thing people think of are those signs associated with your rising sign. Whereas your sun sign is your core being. It's the things that don't change. It's the things that are always there, or it's your likes or dislikes, okay? So your Sagittarius rising person. So for instance, like I know a Leo who's a Sagittarius rising. And at the core, this person is a Leo. It's very obvious. But they have a lot of Sagittarius tendencies. So let me get into this. They may show at certain moments the Sagittarius energy, optimistic. They don't like to show weakness. As I notice about Sagittarius risings, they don't really like to show weakness as much as the suns for some reason, in my opinion. They love to travel. A lot of Sagittarius risings travel. They, you know, just like the suns. Their hobbies may be associated with things that require like energy. You know, they like to exert themselves. They like to get involved in things and situations. Their hobbies might involve working with other people, outreach, you know, learning something new and being able to apply it. There's the difference there, you know, learning something and what you do with it next. And a lot of Sagittarius can be impulsive. Here's what I notice about Sagittarius risings. The risings, more so sometimes than the suns, like to fix the problem. Like immediately. Sagittarius sun is good for big things, like, you know, a social problem. But Sagittarius risings, what I see is like they want to fix the minute problems or the problems that are day to day a little bit quicker than the suns for some reason. All right, so now let's move on to Mercury and Sagittarius. Mercury is the planet that is fast in its communications and our thoughts, also how we learn. Mercury and Sagittarius person might have very revolutionary ideas. When they're thinking of how to approach things, their thought process can be very much, let's just shake it up. They don't want to follow tradition. They don't necessarily want to follow the norms all the time. You know, Mercury is about your mind and your thoughts. So a lot of them, Mercury and Sagittarius energy people might, remember, there's acceptance of others in Sagittarius energy. They don't really like bigotry. A lot of people with Sagittarius energy, they accept other cultures. They may have a tendency. Now again, it might not be culture. It might just be you're open to different types of people or personalities. So I don't want to say every person who's a Sagittarius is open-minded. That's not what I'm saying. But there's a tendency there. Okay? And Mercury and Sagittarius likes to go big with their ideas. You know, when they're thinking, they like to think of the bigger picture, okay? Mercury and Sagittarius might also be a person where, like, in learning, they're not really thinking about the small things. They're thinking of the bigger meaning behind things, the bigger impact, okay? They are also open-minded. Like, if you're trying to brainstorm with a Mercury and Sagittarius person, it's usually going to be pretty positive because, you know, Sagittarius is typically optimistic unless you offend them or unless you offend their wisdom or their knowledge. So for the most part, it's probably going to be good if you're collaborating with someone on a project or some type of idea that has Mercury and Sagittarius. Venus and Sagittarius. Venus is the planet of love and possessions. You know, Venus, and it's said in women's charts how they love, and men's chart it can be who they choose to love. Just like Mars can be what type of man a woman wants, but Mars can be like men and how they not love, but like their intimacy. Now, again, that's traditionally how it was. You know, it really depends. You know, there are people who might not identify with that because, you know, if you're in a same-sex relationship, it might, those definitions of how Venus and Mars are considered might not work for you. But, you know, again, it depends. You know, you can look up on it on yourself just to see what best fits what you're thinking. And what you experience. At the same time, though, this is general information, so it should apply to anyone. Venus and Sagittarius. So, Venus and Sagittarius people can be the type of people who fall in love with people who are different than them. They are more likely to be okay with that. They're more likely to go against tradition. They may be more likely to date outside of their whatever social group they belong to, or, you know, if growing up they were only around certain type of people, they might be more open to say, like, I don't care who I married, you know, it's or who I date, it is what it is type of people. Another thing about Venus and Sagittarius is they like adventure in a relationship. You know, these are people that could change who they're dating often because Sagittarius can be impulsive. You know, they need freedom. I think I forgot to say this in the video. Sagittarius needs freedom. Moon in Sagittarius needs freedom. Sometimes they want to be alone. Sun in Sagittarius needs freedom. Don't restrict them. Mercury in Sagittarius, don't restrict their ideas. Venus in Sagittarius, don't box them in a relationship. Don't do that. It's going to stifle them. I don't mean you should let them date other people if that's not your thing. I mean, freedom. You know, you can't be on them all the time. You can't be, you know, asking where you going, what are you doing, what are you doing. Like, you got to understand that Sagittarius likes to explore, and you got to sometimes, like, whether it's they're exploring mentally or they're exploring like out and going out or doing different things or different hobbies, they might like that. That does not mean the Venus and Sagittarius can't stay in a relationship or be committed. It's just they have a tendency to want relationships that are interesting. Like, okay, we're going to go here this weekend. We're going to go there. Let's go on this vacation. Let's go here. Let's try this. Like, these type of people might prefer that. And lastly, I'm going to zoom in on Mars and Sagittarius. So, Mars is the planet, Mars is the planet associated with aggression, dominance, action, in some cases, like, you know, passion and intimacy. Okay, so, you know, a Mars and Sagittarius person is going to be very fiery with their action. This is a very good placement because they're very idealistic. So the actions of a Sagittarius person, a person with Mars Sagittarius, is like they mean well. They're not trying to hurt anyone or harm anyone. Not that anyone is, but I'm saying, like, Sagittarius wants to help. Sagittarius wants to better society. You know, Sagittarius, you know, is the type that's on this mission to, like, you know, solve societal issues, you know, in some cases. Similar to Aquarius, but a little bit different. So your Mars Sagittarius person will do things to better others, to benefit other people. You know, you'll notice these are the people that might be helping, or they might be, you know, collecting food for underprivileged, you know, families or something like that. Okay. And they really bring faith in what they believe in. There's a strong dedication to what they do. So though Sagittarius can be a little bit impulsive, I think once you find it Mars and Sagittarius, the thought behind it is usually a positive thing. But you also have to remember that Sagittarius